All right, so let's kick this off. While we give folks an opportunity to write some questions of their own, I just want to kind of start off with Ramesh. Can you explain, why you've got 3 editions of maintenance and reliability best practices? Why you develop a framework, and what were people asking you that kind of drove you towards that?
Great question. I was going to say that, but you started, so I'll explain. You know, Friends, I've been preaching, teaching, learning this maintenance, reliability, asset management from a long time. And as I was teaching my fellow professionals in my own company as well as outside, they asked me, hey, why do you write something? So finally, I wrote this first edition, second edition. And during this process of learning, teaching, preaching, all these things, then they ask question, hey, how do you implement? People are in different status, different place where in their journey. Some are here, some are always in between, some are there. So where? So book, if you read the book, every page, every paragraph, sentence has something in it for somebody, which they say, hey, this is a good practice for them. They are not doing this way. Okay. So some people are different stages of learning and applying that knowledge. So we thought about it, and that's what this framework came in a picture. That framework kind of help us to assess where we are for different, in a framework we look, we got 6 domain, competitive advantage, asset management, maintenance management, operation reliability, culture, and leadership, which are foundational kind of a block to speak. Okay. Now, with these, then you have these building blocks individually. So you can look into these building blocks and assess with some questions we have, with that you can assess where you are. And then you can develop a roadmap where is a more important to you, or those kind of things. So you can have a roadmap. Okay, I have to do this first, then this, I'm going to do this, and eventually get there. So whole thing, if you start a journey, you may have to do everything. But if you are somewhere in between, then you, based on your assessment where you are, then you go select these building blocks, and then you go from there. So it kind of helps people to implement uh, their best practices, and you get to your goal, whatever you want to do. In nutshell, and that's what that is, to help us to do our job more effectively, implement these practices.
So the first question we got here, Ramesh says, will you be releasing more information about that framework? Like, how will they learn more about the framework and how it relates to the book and its contents?
Well, yes, we'll be adding some more information, detailed information for each pillars and building blocks, how you can apply that. Also, we're going to do some seminars, next couple of months, where people can get on. We may have a 2 or 3, 4 sessions where we can help them to guide them how to do assessment. And after assessment, how you can build your journey, your roadmap to speak. Okay, that can, so you can do a individual yourself assessment. We can help you, or you can ask us so we can help you, guide you how you can do that. Okay, so yes, there will be more information coming. In fact, separate assessment tools kind of a book. Also, I'm working on my 4th edition, which will be adding this framework and a little bit more information on that. Just watch out.
They're all great points, and so just to kind of reiterate a little bit of that, you and I will be teaching
Yes.
a couple of sessions in 2024 or 2025, where we not only introduce the framework but walk folks through how to develop a strategy using it. So
Yeah.
how do you assess where you're at? How do you use that knowledge to prioritize and create building block structures that essentially become your strategy? In addition to that, Ramesh and I will be developing and releasing additional videos for each of the building blocks throughout 2025. So there's a lot of work to do on our end to take what we've written about these building blocks and to create videos and learning experiences and interactivity for the folks that are interested in learning more about it.
I want to add also that, guys, George has been teaching this assessment tool and framework at the University of Wisconsin. So you can, I mean, he did a few months ago, and he'll be doing a couple of more sessions over there. And again, I'm trying to cut back my travel, so George is taking the lead. He's good at it. I mean, I tell you, he's better teacher than me.
You are far too modest, my friend.
No, no.
So in addition to that, Ramesh, I think you had mentioned the online assessment process. So we are in the process of developing a complete self-assessment aligned with that framework so that folks can access the self-assessment and prioritize building blocks and get a report emailed to them directly that identifies where their opportunities are and where to start. And that's always the biggest question, isn't it, Ramesh? When folks
Yes,
read the book, they go, "That's great, Ramesh. That's 700 pages of like incredible value." But how can I do all that, right? And so that's fantastic. I love hearing that. Okay, so let's see. Should the framework be implemented in its entirety or block by block? What are the advantages or disadvantages of that, Ramesh?
well, again, it's not a, depends upon where you are in your journey. Assessment will tell you where you are in your journey, what blocks you have to do improvement, or what area. So you, based on your assessment, where you are and what kind of a skill set your people you have. I mean, based on that, that's what this assessment will tell you. And then what you're going to have a roadmap. Okay, I'm going to work on asset management, SAM, or I'm going to work on predictive maintenance. Or I'm going to this is I'm low in this area. So based on that information, then you can do. So depends, if you are starting, yeah, you may have to do everything. But if you have made some progress in the past, then you may have to choose this, only 6 block or 10 blocks or whatever. Depends upon where you are in your journey.
I think for me, there's two pieces to this, Ramesh. One is you use the entire framework to communicate
Yeah,
and to educate everybody else in the organization about how complex achieving reliability really is, and allows them to see how your assets connect to your company strategy.
yeah,
I then think that when you go through the assessment process and you now have to develop a strategy, say for 2025, and a strategy for, you know, 2 years, the next 3 years, you can develop a strategy using the building blocks that essentially says, over the next couple of years, these are the things we're going to focus on as an organization. These are the things that for us are going to add value and make sure that we're achieving the value from our assets. And so for me, it's really a function of both, right? So it's
yeah.
not just do you do the whole thing. I think the whole thing is a good communication tool. But I think that most organizations are not staffed appropriately to do the whole thing at once. And you may be in communication and change management overload if you try to implement everything all at once. But what you can do is say, hey, next year we're working on this. What you can do is say, of all of this complexity, these are the things we're going to focus on first. And the assessment process helps narrow that down. So now instead of communicating this incredibly complex world of asset management and reliability, I only have to teach people this and communicate this and focus on this. So now people can visually see, they can understand, they know exactly what they're working on for the next 12 months or 24 months, depending on how you build your strategy. And you can say, okay, but the year after that, we're working on these ones. And the year after that, we're going to work on these ones. And you can, you create your strategy, figure out the gaps you have and what resources and funding it will take to close those gaps. And now I can set my budget up for the next several years. And then after the third year, let's reassess where we're at and start over, because this is a continuously moving and
Yeah.
continuous improvement process. This is not a one and done where you implement and you're finished.
George, just I want to add that when we put these building blocks together, framework, and you have to communicate the whole thing to the management or to people, then you have to go look the whole thing. It's not just a and there, if you look at the framework, you will see the top, the outcome of a whole these thing is a creating a competitive advantage. That's what the top management is looking. If they are going to look how we can create a competitive advantage by having a good financials, that we are profitable. We're going to look at the quality of our product or services, safety, which is really important, corporate responsibility, sustainability, employee engagement. Those are kind of a final outcome of a whole thing. And then you go to other, the building, your domains like asset management, you have to have those. There are 7 blocks there. And then you go to maintenance management, which is 8 blocks. And then operation reliability, how operation gets, which is operation strategy, operating planning, 5S, CIL, all those kind of things. There are 9 blocks there. And also we have to remember the foundational blocks, we call them, is a culture and leadership, which are really very, very important. Having a right culture, which will help you to implement all whatever you want to do. And of course, you need a leadership support. So that's there too. So this is kind of whole, if you have to sell your program, you have to look the whole thing. And as George said, during assessment process, you're going to find out where your weaknesses are and kind of prioritize, because you cannot implement this in 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. It's a continuous journey. And as you get better, new things come and things change, your process change. So you have to assess again and then see where you are and develop your roadmap, modify your make adjustment to your roadmap, where what you're going to do. So I've done same thing long time. That's what we were doing. We're assessing, and one of the thing is in even your process, like whatever you're doing in your defects, what you have, you do a Pareto charts for your what you have done where you are today, and then 3 months later you do it again. Things have changed. Your new equipment have created some more issues or problems. You go work on the same thing here.
Ramesh, in all of the years that you have been in the reliability space, have you ever finished?
Oh, hey, I call
Did you ever
myself a
go, okay, I'm
learner.
done here. Mic drop.
I'm done. I'm done. It never happens. I'm still, hey, I've been doing this over 60 years now. I said, oh my God, when I'm going to stop? But this kind of a passion, learning, when I go and talk to or teach, I don't go for teaching. I go there to learn. We are
Yes.
learning every day. And as I learn, I get better and makes improvement. And then again, this is, I call it, people try to teach it, train it. I'm training myself. I'm learning every day.
I'll tell you what, throughout my career, I've learned from many folks, but certainly yourself. Um, One of the best times in my professional life is now, because I get to learn from you on a regular basis.
Yeah,
And folks that engage with you are always happy they've engaged with you. You're just a great person, and always focus on both your own learning as well as sharing that knowledge. So that's
yeah.
pretty amazing, and we're all very impressed with who
Well,
you are as a
hey,
human.
I'm really blessed. I got a lot of great friends, you and everybody. And, it's kind of a, not funny. The passion, boy, that kills me. And again, last night I was talking to my friend at midnight. I'll be going to Sabic, Saudi Arabia, in a couple of weeks. So it's kind of a talking to them and learning even with them. I say, hey, yes, I'm going to come and teach. We said, no, I'm coming there to learn from you guys what you're doing and see if something good you are doing it. So learning never stops. I'm keep learning. Uh, I'm blessed, as I said. I don't know how long, but I'm gonna keep doing as much as I can.
Okay, let's get back to the framework piece. So with the learning at mind, since we're kind of talking about that, what type of learning opportunities will folks see in the near future with respect to the framework and maintenance and reliability best practices?
As you said earlier, we are going to have a few sessions online to explain a little bit more on framework and assessment and help people to guide them to develop a strategy and a roadmap. Okay, so we'll be doing this whole framework. We may do a 3 or 4 session for framework, and we may do a couple of times. Also, we'll do a in-person training. We are planning those in some of the conferences or our own, and also some university will be teaching this. So yes, there will be a lot of opportunity. Our books will be coming out as we, again, I'm getting slow, but yeah, Josh keep reminding me every week we meet. He reminds me, hey, you have done only 1 page or half page, 2 pages. It takes time, but we're going to come up a update on the books. So there'll be those coming out pretty soon this year, hopefully end of the year. Uh, so there are a lot of we want to help you guys. That's what this. So you call us. Hey, you want to in person, online? We can have a lot of options. We can do either way. So we can find a way to help you out in your implementation. Okay.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about competitive advantage, and for me, that's a huge, huge um, layer to our building block structure, because reliability is really for the sake of the business and not just because the asset exists.
Mhm.
And so for me, it's always there's this dynamic in the industry where folks get these check boxes. We got to do this, and we got to do that, and we got to do this. And those things seem to be more for the sake of the asset. Whereas once you use a framework like this, you start connecting things to your safety goals and your quality goals and your employee engagement goals, not only the financial goals. And you realize that those assets add a lot of value to the business, not just their existence. And then the other side of that, you realize, well, how reliable do I need it to be if it's n plus one? And you have the redundancy. So your mindset changes when you start seeing the value proposition of the assets. So that's always interesting for me. The second layer in here is around the asset management domain. Talk to us a little bit about what's the difference between asset management and maintenance management.
Well, a lot of differences. You know, this reminds me one of the cartoons you had developed. The cartoon or is a block about a asset. And it's not, I really love that your picture, what you have drawn. Asset doesn't care who you are. You have budget or no budget, or you are going to go your a football game or soccer game or recital, whatever. Don't, this asset doesn't care. You have asset needs, we need to plan for this asset. You know, asset we have to make sure is designed right way back when you're designing it, when you're building it, and you have to do the right things. You're building reliability that time. When you come back and it's running operational mode, it's producing, doing something, that time you try to maintain, really you are sustaining the reliability. Okay. So asset management is, if you think about, is a whole asset life cycle from initial planning, designing, procurement, building, installing, and then making use of this asset by producing something and maintaining it, improving it, all kind of things. And then when need is over, you do proper removal process. you take it out from the whole is asset management. Okay, most of time what we are doing is we get involved with the operational phase where we operate and maintain. That's it's just one piece. It's a utilization phase of asset where we try to make use of this asset so we make money out of that, and we want to maximize that money. And also our goal is to reduce our total cost of ownership, you know, in acquisition process as well as during operational maintenance phases. So we want to overall. So asset management, if we do properly, it helps to do reduce our total cost of ownership and get more value from our asset, more planned fashion. So we just don't want to do PMs. We have to make sure that when assets were designed right, so those things are taken care in design. The component we use, make sure our design is putting and specifying or applying those good, reliable component to when they are making this asset. So asset management takes the whole 9 yards from trader to grave kind of thing. That's what asset management.
Okay, so then what's maintenance management?
Well, maintenance management is once we got the asset, we have to make sure we are sustaining that reliability which we have built it. So with the maintenance management, we want to make sure we are doing right PMs, we have right procedures, we have people, we right skill sets, and we are doing things right. And also operators are doing some few things they have to do every day when they are operating it, kind of taking care of those. We are cleaning it, we are lubricating it. So that's the whole things where, and again, when we have this PM, we are managing those by what management. We are documenting our history, what we are doing on those. If it's failing, hey, if it's we try to do a root cause analysis, why this failing, and then it's part of that process. We're going to make improvements, modification. So that's whole thing we call it asset strategy, predict precision maintenance, lubrication, predictive work management, MRO stores. So we have proper storerooms, failure management, and we have a CMMS system. All those kind of things with this building block will take care of maintenance management.
Excellent. So the structure allows you to take the organizational objectives and translate that into strategy at the asset level in asset management, both in upfront design and the standards for things like, well, how will you determine what you're going to do to the asset, right? So all that sits in asset management. Then we've got the tactical piece of executing that maintenance work against the asset, the system that comprises that. How do we handle failures and manage the failure modes afterwards? All that sits in maintenance management. Then we've got this whole operational reliability layer.
You know,
How important is that?
well, data is showing that. In fact, if you read the book, chapter 6, operational management, where 40%, about 40% failures are due to operational problems. Okay, operational problems means we are your I mean people are not doing right things and they are not operating right, we don't have right procedures, we are not cleaning it. So there's certain responsibility operator has to take ownership of that asset. He's making sure it's clean, properly lubricated. If we give, like, we are applying TPM process, 5S process, where we give him some response because he's our first line of defense operator. He or she is there all the time. She can watch, she can listen. Those kind of things help us to identify the failures, say, before. I mean, we can take care of those failures before they happen, create some problem for us. So all those kind of things, making sure our equipments are lined up, they are not misaligned or something, they are center aligned. And then if they help us, like 5S principles and TPM, we go to defect elimination. So right there, problem, as a team working together, we can try to eliminate defects, identify, and if they can, if not, the whole team with the matrix, we can try to eliminate defects. And also as a part of this operation reliability, we call it a problem solving, working together. If those are the issues, how we can solve those problems. And in the manufacturing, we have a loss management. A lot of times we have small jams here. If some of things are not working, so those are kind of we are going to look help us to where we are losing our production to speed. Small jams are happening, or something else is dropping here or something, and so that's kind of loss management. And again, we have to make sure we have the process is a balanced. All our machines are balanced. That's a your you might some of those quality process this what you call phew, uh, I'm getting old. That terms is not coming to my head. This was a quality process we established where your one machine may not be producing as much as you compare to other machine, and we try to balance, make sure everything is doing, and one machine becomes a problem, we take care of that, then the next one, all these kind of things. So that's kind of operation reliability. We believe getting operator involved and doing some of this analysis helps to really get more production and so.
This one's really critical, when we consider whether it's manufacturing or non-manufacturing, right? So because in process industries, you still have
Yes,
operations. You have operations pretty much everywhere, right? Even if it's a
yes,
um, facility management type business, somebody's operating the boilers and chillers or the waste treatment plant, or other things, and it's incredibly critical how the operator and the operations department sees themselves with respect to reliable operations. You can have great PMs and have amazing PM compliance and be unreliable as a plant. You can have unreliability, as you indicated, because the operator didn't clean properly, because things weren't centerlined right, because they're putting poor corrugate into a case erector, because procurement bought cheaper bags that are thinner and now the product doesn't work. And the machine is doing exactly what it was designed to
desire
do.
to do, yeah.
And the maintenance is up to date, and yet we do not operate well. And this is a downfall for other other approaches to reliability, because they tend to focus on the maintenance side of things. So much so that, if they have a framework, they have one block dedicated to operations, and it's an afterthought, or it's not even part of the framework. There's, lots of different frameworks that exist, and, some of them don't even include an operation piece. It's incredibly important for the maintenance department to be a part of operational reliability.
That's
And
a
the reason that's so critical for me, Ramesh, is when they cannot get the line to operate well, they call maintenance, and
well.
maintenance
That's
shows up
what.
and gets the line running. So they
That's
should be
exactly I was going to say that.
yeah,
Hey, many times maintenance get blamed, but again, input to the machine are two. One is a raw material, and
yep.
also there's whole system of using the bags and other kind of things, bottles or those kind of things. And if they are not right to the quality specifications, they create a problem in your process. And that's what, again, maintenance get blamed for that. Maintenance get called in. I was called so many times. You were called so many times. Hey, that's a maintenance issue. But we found out that was not a maintenance issue. That was a supply issue or something procurement bought which was not up to the quality because somebody did a dime cheaper, something cheaper, 10 cent quarter cheaper, and bought it. But that created a problem there. So you are right. I mean, that's a is really is a part of operational reliability, making sure all the input to the machine, to the asset, have a quality things in it. Quality products are we are using it.
Yeah. Just a reminder for folks that are online, if you want to submit a question, go to the Q&A section and type away. Okay, so now we've got through the operational reliability piece, which is interesting when you talked about procurement and them trying to save money, yet they cause unreliability. You know, you teach people using this framework so they can understand how they impact reliability, because it's not just a maintenance initiative. And when you speak to procurement, and procurement's, celebrating that they saved $1 million this year by cutting the cost of raw materials, but yet those raw materials are impacting plant performance by, a 10% drop in OEE, they're not saving any money. They just don't understand how those things are related. And the expertise to teach them that sits in the maintenance and reliability space. The folks if your plant has reliability engineers, great. If not, it sits at the maintenance level. And it's the onus is on us to teach the rest of the organization how they impact reliability. You cannot, this is an interesting statement I'm going to make, the broad stroke statement. We cannot positively impact reliability. The only thing we can do is negatively impact reliability. The machine comes and it's got its own inherent reliability. We can achieve it. We can't achieve better unless we re-engineer it, but we
Yes.
can achieve worse. So everything that we do either maintains it or achieves worse. So
Yeah,
we've got to start teaching people how not to negatively impact the reliability of their plant.
George, let me share a story. This is a real one, procurement. We were having some challenges in hydraulic systems. We were these component cylinders, O-seal, O-rings, all those kind of things. And I was teaching, I got attached to the design group, design capital projects to teach them reliability. As we were going through, designer asked a question, say, hey, I'm in the process of designing this new machine, which has these hydraulic systems, but I want to know what's the MTB of this cylinder or this thing. It's not available. So we try to standardize within our company. So I got our hydraulics people together. There are 4 or 5. Kept our project managers. They were responsible for hydraulic systems. I got them in a room, and also I got a procurement person, purchasing manager, in the room. And when we started talking, or different facility, they said, I use this kind of cylinder, I use this kind of oil seal, O-ring, and different plant they were talking about, and we were trying to make a list. And you know, after we made a list, standardized it, these are 3 kind of manufacturers on cylinders. We're going to use them because they have a better reliability in all kind of things. Although it was not, we couldn't get the reliability MTM data from different manufacturers, but we talked within a company, hey, there is out of 10, these are 3 good companies, their components are much more reliable. And this guy, procurement guy, after meeting was done, he said, guys, his eyes were opened up. He couldn't believe what kind of challenge these people are having in the plant, in the field. By buying this, they thought every cylinder comes in the company is great. you know After he heard from these people the stories in the field, how these leaks are happening or what they are, so they identify these are 3 good makes, these are good oil seal O-rings. Boy, he said, oh boy, God, wish I could come more often to listen to you guys, and maybe you can give me some more this kind of data. I can help you. So point was getting procurement. And can you realize, I mean, people don't realize, we got some of the procurement guys after this kind of incident, we got them certified. You know, we got them certification means was we gave them a training,
Yeah.
knowledge about reliability, and they passed the exam. That's again is a main thing is a understanding how these things helps in building the reliability,
Yeah.
buying a reliable component. And so those are kind of things are really getting people involved, procurement guys, finance guys, all these, everybody who's ever touches, in a sense, broader sense, by something, even ordering, also your person who is cleaning, everybody's responsible for reliability.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Outstanding. Okay, let's move to the next domain. So the next domain is leadership,
Yeah.
and what can you say about leadership? In my opinion, between the two entities we have as our foundation,
Yeah.
you are not capable of achieving reliability. Like, you can have great PMs, you can have a great CMMS system, you can have highly skilled workers, and still be unreliable in the plant.
Well,
Whereas you can not have all those other things. You cannot have great PMs. You could not have a well-structured CMMS. You could have no CMMS at all. But if you have great leadership and great people, you can still be reliable. So
see,
it one way it works and the other way it doesn't.
your leadership creates the right culture. Okay, that's it, bottom line.
Yeah.
But leadership also plays, building reliability means building culture. They ask the right question. They try to, if they say, hey, if machine is down, and if they ask the question, hey, when you want to get it done? I want to get it going. People are saying, hey, they don't care for root cause analysis. If you ask the question, hey guys, what was the cause? Are you going to find a cause for fixing? But that's the right question. But if you ask, when you get it ready, when you go, half hour, I want 10 minutes. Don't talk about a RCA, root cause analysis, so it doesn't happen again.
Right.
Then that's great. Also, are you providing right resources? Do you have resources to buy right component, train people? So those are kind of things, it helps the leadership support is a very, very important. And also, to the next block, culture. It helps you building a right culture, asking the right question. Then they say, hey, management is interested in equality. They're interested in reliability. Yes, if it's a 10 minutes late, it's okay. They can live with it, lost production for 10 more minutes, but we had to do a quality job so it doesn't fail again. So these are kind of a building block, I call it foundational block. A leadership support is very, very. I failed to implement RCM 3 times. I had the best people in my group and the best facilitator, Max Smith, who wrote the book on RCM. He came to my place 2 or 3 times and we failed because we didn't have the right culture. We didn't
Right.
have right leadership support. So
Yep.
it takes time to build those. Those are very, very critical to implementing whatever we want to do.
So how does the book and the framework help with the hardest thing to do is to develop the right culture. And I don't like saying change. We're not changing culture. We have to evolve culture.
That's
The
right.
only way for it to be successful, you can't flip a switch and say it's now this.
Uh,
Well, you have to evolve people through that progression. And so, it's a cultural evolution is what you're attempting to do, right?
that's right.
And it is the hardest thing to do in reliability, but it is the only thing worth doing if you expect to be sustainable. Um, all the other stuff is stuff that can have an end date and a timeline. It's the continuous improvement, the culture and leadership piece that has to continually move on in order for you to continually see the value. I mean, those things will still drive changes in your asset management strategy, but if you want an organization that gives you exponential success, then it's all about culture and leadership.
You know, Way back when I was building culture, I have a picture, a head with a switch, and I was trying to explain to people, it's wish we had a switch here and I could switch on and my culture change, everybody's following the right thing. We don't. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
And culture building takes time. And again, as you said, change management is necessary, means change. You design, hey, how am I change the culture? Culture is educating people. people don't understand. If I want to bring in something new practice, new technology, or whatever, unless until I prepare my people to accept that, they understand this thing, whatever you're going to do, new process or whatever, is going to help me to do my job better, easily, safer. Unless until I understand that, I'm not going to change that myself. But once I understand, yes, new things, new process is going to help me to do my job better, safer, quicker, but it's much more safer and I'll enjoy it as compared to, going this 10 way, I can go directly and do something.
Yeah.
So kind of a understanding of new process, educator, education, that's a part of change process. And slowly, as people understand, the culture is better. Culture is people are doing things when bosses are not around. When nobody's looking at you, you are doing the right things. If there's something quality issue in your process, and you are stopping the machine, and bosses agree with you, okay, they don't say, hey, why did you stop the machine? Because you felt it's producing non-quality jobs. It's going to create a more failures. That's one is a right culture and takes time to build that.
Yeah, and what's interesting is anybody can impact the culture, positively or negatively.
Yeah.
And it's all about someone in the organization setting the bar. I've been on plant tours with plant managers who walk over trash, and I've been on plant tours with plant managers that bend down and pick the trash up. And you can tell just from that what the culture within that organization is going to be. It's a dead giveaway,
Yeah.
because there's a bar and an expectation being set. And that's always the piece between culture and leadership. Leadership has to set an expectation and a vision, but they also have to live to that expectation. The actions have to align with that expectation. The way a culture becomes disjointed is a disconnect between the actions from leadership and the vision and expectations from leadership. And if those things, if they act with integrity and those things are aligned, then the culture can evolve into the vision. If those are disjointed, then the culture is based on the lowest common denominator of where the bar is with respect to everybody else, because the leadership is not demonstrating that they are serious about where the bar is. Then everybody else has to figure out where the bar is.
Yeah. Can ask leadership asking the right question. If they ask the wrong question or wrong way, it give the wrong message. Culture, hey, goes downhill right away. So that's really leadership plays a very, very key role in this. Hey, there was another question was come. What are the key elements in the framework document on documentation? I think the way I'm reading it, documentation is every process, everything we do, all this framework, we have to document our things, what we are doing. you know that's important, and it's not a separate. Yes, we have a separate block for CMMS, but that's making sure that's right. But documentation is everywhere. Wherever we do something, we have to document. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a question that says, what is a good way of assessing the skill sets of maintenance techs in general? Like, how do you assess the maintenance techs? They may have knowledge, but the skills needed to fix equipment, to get an idea of the gaps. So if there's a company called Scientific Management, if anyone knows Steve over at Scientific Management, um, and they have a timing machine that they've been using, a mechanical machine that they use for mechanical aptitude testing that they've been using since the early 70s. And they've kept track of every score that anyone has ever achieved in taking this assessment. Uh, in my past, we have implemented this as a hiring practice. And not only as a hiring practice, but when we first implemented it, we tested all the operators too and converted two of them to maintenance people because they had a higher mechanical aptitude than some of the maintenance people did. So there are skill assessments that exist. There's also training that exists through folks like Hendricks, with respect to actual physical skill sets when it comes to maintenance. I would say that the folks at Scientific Management, because they have mechanical aptitude, they have electronics, they have controls, they have pneumatics and hydraulics, PLCs, they have boards for doing all that initial testing. And then they have subsequent follow up training that ranges anywhere from basic math skills to how to troubleshoot PLCs. So that's a great resource for those types of things. Ramesh, we are getting dangerously close to being out of time.
Yes.
Do you have anything that you'd like to kind of close with in terms of talking about the framework or what may be in your immediate future?
Well, hey guys, we are really happy that you have joined and watch for our new some more offering coming in 25 next few months, and we'll be doing some of these sessions. And again, you can shoot a question to George or me anytime. Go to our reliabilityx.com and shoot us a question. But again, we are available. We want to help you, and especially we are looking always try to help share our knowledge, whatever we learn, we want to share with you guys through books, some training, online training, uh, so we have a lot of avenue to get you educated, trained, and so you can do a right job. You can make a difference to your workplace. That's what we are looking, we want to do. So you can make a difference in your workplace. You are more profitable. You are break even if you are government kind of thing. So again, hey, if you are in manufacturing or service or whatever industry or facility, hey, these principles can be applied. I mean, I'm amazed when I wrote those. I never imagined, how people are going to use this book. I hear a lot on the internet. I mean, other day what I saw, it was telling George, I almost cried, when I read that, page from somebody. I think it was a Middle East or somewhere, and some from Latin America also. I mean, how people are using this book, and I'm so happy to hear to this kind of words. They're using this book to help them to do the right job, and is helping them. That's the key thing for us, is how we can help you guys, whatever industry you are, wherever, what country you are, doesn't matter, how we can help you so you can do a better job, improve your productivity, and be profitable.
Excellent, Ramesh. Thank you. For me, I'm excited for 2025. We've got a lot of activity around the framework. We're going to continue to produce high quality content, video training, online blogs, and essentially everything that we release from this point forward is going to reference itself to how it fits in the framework. And so people will be able to essentially look up, well, I need more information on a strategic asset management plan. And anything on our website, any content we have, any videos that we have that have that topic embedded in them in any way will be readily available when you search SAMP or whatever building block from the framework that you're looking for more information on. You'll be able to easily find that on our website just by searching for the building block name. So in addition to that, Ramesh, you and I will be developing lots of content around training and assessment process and how to develop strategy. We're going to make 2025 a year where we're giving a lot back to the community. Not that we don't already, and you have an enormous amount of you giving back to the community, Ramesh, over the years. But we're going to really focus on that in 2025 and make sure that we're attempting to make the world a better place through a reliability community that can share its knowledge, that can ask questions openly without being afraid of what the answers might be, and get
Yeah.
honest feedback from the experts that are willing to share. So I'm really excited, Ramesh. Thank you for your time today. This is going to conclude our webinar for the folks that are online. Thank you for attending. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. Go to reliabilityx.com. If you have a need for an assessment process, you can email us at ask@reliabilityx.com, or you can call 877-RLBLTYX. That's kind of it, Ramesh. Let's have a wonderful day. And for everybody out there, we'll see you next time.
Great. Thank you, George. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. A good night, whatever you are, and take care.
Cheers.